Afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, profiler here, and welcome. Welcome to a very, very sad situation, ongoing manhunt. Maine mass shooting. What caused Robert Card's murderous rampage? I mean, that's what we really want to know, right? What caused Robert Card to go on a killing spree and a wounding spree? At this point in time, I want to send our deepest sympathies and condolences to the family and friends of all those who've been killed and injured, all those poor victims. I'm sure they have a lot of relatives and a lot of friends up there in that small town. You know, please send over your comments. We always love to hear your comments. And please subscribe if you haven't. We always love your subscriptions. The more the merrier. We look at it that way. And the more subscribers we have, the more comments we get. So it keeps a nice open dialogue constantly flowing. So far, we have 18 people dead and 13 people injured in Lewiston, Maine. 18 dead, 13 injured in Lewiston, Maine, okay? Those are some pretty big numbers, all right? And something else that's bothering me, about 2 weeks ago, I think some of you probably know it, have watched it. We did a show on Hore Fleming. She was shot for no apparent reason whatsoever, seemed very random, on a trail in Castleton, Vermont. And at that point in time, we felt we may have a mentally ill, delusional killer, on the loose. And I still feel that way. I don't know if Robert Card has been in Castleton, Vermont. I don't know if he knows anything about Castleton, Vermont. But I'm just saying Castleton, Vermont, where we feel we had a mentally ill shooter. And when we're looking at Lewiston, Maine, they're not that far from each other, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, not that far, okay? So I just have some concerns because nobody has been arrested in the Hore Fleming murder in Castleton, Vermont. Our suspect, Richard Card, is on the run. As I said, he's armed and extremely dangerous. There's no question about it. He's hearing voices. I've run into this on a number of occasions. We would call this a visionary killer. This is someone who feels they're hearing voices for whatever reason. Lots of times it's from a higher power or higher authority. In some cases it's been the devil. In some cases it's been God. But we'll learn more about that, I'm sure. What we know is he's extremely mentally ill and delusional. Okay, he's a mentally ill murderer at this point. He's innocent until proven guilty, and at this point, he's more of a suspect, but everybody's pretty sure he's the shooter. And we're looking at a mass shooting at 2 locations, looking at a bowling alley and a bar and grill. With Robert Card, you're looking at somebody that's 40 years old, 5'11", 230 pounds. He's from Boyden, Maine, if I have it correct. Again, 18 people dead, 13 injured. Those are the numbers so far. He's still on the loose. I'm sure he's still packing some kind of firearm. I doubt if he ditched an AR-15 type rifle, but I would assume with his background that he would have a pistol as well. He attended the University of Maine as an engineering student in the 2000s. We come across stuff like that here and there, on what has been somebody's previous history. But what I'm looking at and focusing in on, where did he learn how to use the weapons? Okay, I was in the military. I understand the weapons he has. I've used weapons he has. Okay, so it looks like he enlisted in the Army Reserve like maybe 20 years ago. So he's 20-year guys, lifetime guy in the reserves, all right? No combat deployments, no combat deployments. So we can't say at this time it's post-traumatic stress that could be the underlying culprit from any kind of combat duty, because as far as we know, to this point, there is none. Doesn't mean something might pop up. You know, this stuff goes. This is very early in the investigation. So he's a sergeant in the U.S. Army Reserve, and he was serving as a petroleum supply specialist, which is interesting to me. I always look, when you have these people that are hanging by a thread mentally and just kind of just trying to keep it together, then all of a sudden something comes along, okay, and it just is the major trigger that sets everything in motion, and it sets them to go off. And I'm pretty sure we found it. Recently, he lost his job at a recycling distributing center. He was a long-haul driver that worked for them, listed now as unemployed. So something happened. I mean, this guy obviously was talking about his problems. He was talking about hearing voices. There were a lot of warning signs here, but nobody intervened on him. I mean, they intervened. They got him into a mental health clinic. But just because somebody spends a couple of weeks in a mental health clinic, and that's all I know, I'm sure there's probably more to his history of mental health treatment. But just because somebody spends a couple of weeks in mental health treatment, that doesn't mean that when they come out, they're okay and they should have their weapons back. Okay? This is a situation where they need to be scrutinized and watched over time. You just can't give somebody that comes out on medication, let's say, which I'm sure he was on medication when it came out, and then they, don't take his weapons away from him. They let him continue to keep his weapons. All right. Well, guess what? The medication lots of times makes a lot of these mentally ill people very uncomfortable. So guess what they do? They go off their medication. So now he goes off his medication, or maybe he's still on it and it doesn't work. Obviously, it's not working, right? So he goes off his medication, and then the next thing you know, he's off and running and shooting and killing people at places where he has contended that they are talking bad about him. The voices are telling him that these people are talking bad about him, okay? And then the voices start to command him to act, all right? These are not visual hallucinations. These are auditory hallucinations where he's being commanded by various voices, or maybe it's just one voice, okay? But he obviously is listening and acting on it. This is what mental illness can do, okay? And as I said in the beginning, these warning signs were up front. Everybody could see them, but nobody intervened and took his weapons away, okay? And that bothers me. Also, we have reported mental health issues, including not only hearing the voices, okay, but making threats that the voices were kind of threatening him to shoot up the local National Guard center, where he was stationed. I mean, so who knows what the voices are telling him now? Hopefully by now he's been captured. But if not, you still have a very, very sick, mentally ill man out there, okay, who has killed many people, has wounded many people, and will not stop killing because I can't see the voices telling him to stop. Okay, they will continue to try and command him, to act out in a murderous way. And this is a murderous rampage. Yeah, he spent a couple of weeks in a mental health facility this past summer. Then he was released, as I'm saying here, probably on medication, but didn't stay on the medication, or the medication stopped working. I mean, 2 weeks is not a long time. And, I'm sure these insurance companies need to know about that too, because that's not a long time to really treat somebody that's this mentally ill, to be honest with you. I don't think you think it was a long time either for somebody that was this mentally ill. People in the town reported that he was someone to stay away from. A lot of people talk about him being a very loving, caring man. But there's other people that say, whoa, he was the guy you stay away from. So you've got two rules of thought there. There's a supposed record of arrests for domestic violence and other crimes. Again, he's innocent until proven guilty, right? In a court of law, that's just the way all this works. Sometimes, it sounds foolish that we bring that out, but this is just how this works, okay? And we think there's more to be revealed. In fact, I'm sure there's more to be revealed. We just got to stay cool, keep an eye out for this guy, stay out of his way. And for all our audience up in New England and the New England states, and especially in Maine, you got to be on your toes and keep your eye out for him. And, do not approach him, just report him, okay? He's really somebody not to play with, I'll tell you right now. Now, also, just to show you how delusional, mental illness can make you, he recently got hearing aids, and he was telling his loved ones that he was hearing people through the hearing aids talk about him. Now, if you go back to the show I did a couple of weeks ago on the shooter up in Vermont, and we still don't know who that was, okay? But I felt he was the same type of mentally ill kind of person. And I talked about them getting signals and hearing voices. Again, visionary killers, okay, hear voices from what they believe is a higher power, okay, or some sort or other. And lots of times they're commanded and they follow those commands, okay? But supposedly he was hearing through these hearing aids, these commands. And getting back to what I said 2 weeks ago, it's usually electric devices. Over my career, I've seen people get these commands through televisions, through radios, the radio in the car. Usually it's some kind of electric device where they're hearing a voice command them. And when they're not around electric devices, also, they can just have those voices in their heads and are hearing those commands loud and clear. But it's interesting, the part here about the hearing aids as well, because that falls into line for me lots of times with a paranoid, schizophrenic, or visionary killer who, is, a homicidal threat. And that's what you have here. So anyway, I've talked enough. I hope I gave you some information. We're going to keep digging on this because I want to find out exactly what is behind all this. I want the backstory. I want the root cause of what sent him over the edge. I mean, he was teetering. There's no question about it. I believe the job is what did it. But let's go back. Let's go back into even his childhood. Let's try and unravel the mystery and see exactly what was going on, what trauma he may have had in early life, or was this, something that was just more of a genetic or physiological component in disease. Mental illness is a disease. There's no question about it. And just like you can get any physical disease at any age, you can get pretty much mental illness at any age as well. Thanks for listening to me, okay? I appreciate all your time, appreciate your focus. Most importantly, take care of yourselves out there. We live in very dangerous times. There's a lot of violence out there, so again, be on your toes. Take care of yourself. Have a great day. And until next time, God bless. Thank you.